The mission of the Scalabrini Centers for Migration in Boston is to promote the integration and adaptation of immigrant communities into American society, while maintaining their dignity, values, and cultural identity. In that sense, I'm pleased to introduce my colleagues from the Scalabrini Center for Migration in Boston to share more about the positive impact that we have in the immigrant communities in Everett, Somerville, and Framingham. So I would like to introduce Sister Elisete, Signor, the Executive Director of Centro Comunitario Scalabrini in Everett. Liliane Costa, Executive Director of the Brazilian American Center Brace in Framingham. And Father Adriano Tezone, Administrator of the Scalabrini Assistance and Cultural Center. I'm glad also to introduce our friend and moderator and keynote, Hosffman Ospino, who will support in this panel. So, thank you.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. And you are the brave ones, who stayed until the end. So, congratulations, and thank you for your patience. Thank you for your commitment to the immigrant population and to these conversations about the contributions of immigrants to the life in the city of Boston. We have gone from a conversation that has been international at the national level. We have looked into the world of politics. We have looked to the world of even economic contributions. Now we are gonna take a little dive into the Ecclesial world, the commitment that countless women and men throughout the United States, but in particularly on this panel, the Scalabrinians are making in service to the to the immigrant community. I work with Latinos, so the word Latino is always on my mind. In any case, so the panel that brings us together, it's Scalabrini Centers for Migration in Boston, promoting integration and ease in the immigrant's journey in Boston. Let me share a few opening remarks, and then I will just leave the floor to our panelists. When we speak about, or when we come together, not to engage in dialogue about the work of centers like the Scalabrini centers throughout the United States, the Scalabrini family, what we first need to keep in mind is the importance of ecclesial structures in the United States serving the new immigrant community. About 1940 or so, in the 1940s, the United States of America stopped calling itself a church of immigrants or the immigrant church. So for about 120, 30 years, Catholicism in this country was defined and redefined again by immigrants, primarily from Europe. Those were the waves that came from in the 19th and early 20th centuries. Yet, starting in the 1960s particularly, and increasing in the 1990s, and now we are seeing the growth, we have become again an immigrant church. Currently, about a full third of Catholics in the United States are immigrants, which is a fascinating dynamic. The vast majority of those immigrants come from Latin America. But we also have a large population. The fastest growing group in the Catholic Church is Asians, as a matter of fact, But in the Boston area, although the Asian population is growing as well, it is the Brazilian population that is also growing really fast alongside the Latino, Hispanic communities. So what's the impact of these immigrants in the Catholic Church? Well, 50 years ago, 90% of all Catholics in the United States were mostly Euro-American, white, and primarily English-speaking. Today, about 43% of all Catholics in this country are Hispanic, Latino, and then we got about 5% that are Asian, about 4% that are African American and black Catholic, because we got a large contingent of Catholics coming from Africa and the Caribbean. And then we got a growing number of Catholics that are arriving from the Middle East. And I believe that given the circumstances, the geopolitics today, we are going to keep seeing more immigrants from the Middle East, from Africa, from Asia in the near future. So when these immigrants arrive, normally when I speak with pastoral leaders, I ask them, what's the first thing that a Catholic does when she or he arrives in a country? And the answer usually is, they look for a church. No, they go and they look for a church. And that's exactly what's happening. Right now, 40% of all Catholic parishes in the United States celebrate Mass and offer services in more than one language, and in a language other than English as well. 40%. We're talking about 7,000 parishes nationwide. In the Archdiocese of Boston, certainly this is being a large diocese, we celebrate Mass in more than 25 different languages, in this particular local church. But the immigrant presence certainly brings a new level of energy into the life of faith communities and into the structures of the church. So, what are those structures? What are the contributions that these immigrants bring? Well, immigrants, on the one hand, are bringing new life to Catholic parishes nationwide, and it's also the case in this country. Many communities that are closing or are aging or are declining are being now renewed completely by the presence of immigrants from different parts of the world. One of the main reasons why these immigrants are bringing new life is because they are having babies. Young population from Asia, from Latin America, from Africa, young families bringing new life. So, in the past, if you had asked most Catholics about 50 years ago what a quinceañera was, most people would not have not known about this. Today, it's kind of common sense to know and celebrate quinceañeras. But at the same time, just as immigrants are coming to parishes and are growing in the presence of parish life and renewing parish life and actually forcing dioceses to establish new parishes, like in the case of Texas and California, New Mexico, and other parts of the South and the West, we also know that there are other Catholic structures in the church that could be doing much better if they welcomed and they opened their doors and they adjusted to the presence of the immigrant population. What are some of those institutions? For instance, Catholic schools, Catholic universities. We know that Catholic education in the United States has been a key aspect for leading integration and processes of assimilation. Unfortunately, most immigrants, most Catholics today, regardless of their nationality, ethnicity, skin color, language, culture, most immigrants today are not present in Catholic schools and are not benefiting from Catholic schools, not benefiting from Catholic universities and other structures that have given life to the mainstream Catholic population or the predominant Catholic population to this day. So we see ourselves, the gift of the immigrant population is a gift to the church, but in many cases, it's a church to be embraced. It remains a gift to be embraced. So I want to now give the word to my friends from the Scalabrini family, and I feel blessed among Brazilians today, and about the work. The Scalabrinians is one of those one of the orders in the Catholic tradition that has completely, from the beginning, dedicated their mission to the immigrant population from day one in the United States. But we're also seeing other religious orders in the United States also dedicating all or most of their efforts to working with immigrant communities. It's an excellent work. It's an excellent way of sharing them in the mission of evangelization. And with that, I will leave you with Sister Elisete. So you're beginning, or who's?
Okay. Well, the Scalabrini Center we call Centro Comunitario Scalabrini. We are located at 1 block from Everett Square, 4 blocks for the new casino. So our mayor just mentioned that in 1990s, foreign residents in Everett accounted 11% of the population. By 2015, the number goes to 41%. So because of that, Everett has been forced to come to terms with issues of racial justice, immigration, and assimilation. Many families, like many people mentioned here, can trace their roots on the first wave immigrants in Italy and Ireland. But recent residents in Everett have arrived from Central and South America, especially El Salvador, Brazil, as well as Morocco, Haiti, Puerto Rico, and Dominican Republic. On Broadway is our main street in the city. Storefront signs are in Portuguese, Chinese, and Spanish. Our restaurants serve pupusas, tamales, tacos, as well Brazilian barbecue, delicious churrasco. And churches offer Sunday service in Spanish, Italian, Portuguese, or Haitian Creole. So the rapid change in the city's ethnic profile has been input for actions. So groups from all across the city, local government, police, public schools, health centers, churches, and nonprofits have come together to examine the culture and racial inequalities. So, and how they might affect the resident well-being. So we all together, we create the program, One Everett Block Party. The One Everett project works to connect the old immigrants and the new immigrants. So One Everett become a voice of the entire community, children, adults, seniors, and organizations. Authorities of Everett City has shown interest in support and get close with the migrants community. So they came to our churches to talk to the Brazilian and Hispanic and Haitian Creole faith community several times. We are not afraid or distant to our authorities. So how does Scalabrini contribute to? So the Scalabrini Community Center is proud to be a part of Everett stakeholders since we opened the doors in June 2006. We are almost baby. I remember on the first day when we opened the center, a young man was the first beneficiary. He came to ask help, was on Monday, and he was a cocaine user. Remember, was the first person entering to the center. Poor Sister Elisete, no knowledge, no information, and no answer. In our conversation, I discovered that he was uninsured, meaning no health insurance. His English was worse than mine, and low income. So as a church, as a center, we start to think about how to deal with this situation in the community. And I found an angel for our center, Mrs. Jackie Coogan, a retired public school teacher in Everett, that years before, in 1994, she was at the same situation when a Latina of 6th grade who broke her leg in 3 pieces during school. He also has no health insurance. Her parents did not speak English and did know how to access to health insurance. So Coogan, that proud she's here today, she was so disturbed by the incident. And after this experience, she founded the Joint Community for Health Children in Everett, a nonprofit that helps residents in Everett and surrounding areas, especially newcomers, to get health care. This experience has been so inspirational for us since the JCC is today one of our main partners in our community to support the access for health for immigrants at the Scalabrini is proud to be a satellite office of JCC that is a partnership for Navigator of Health Connector. So thank you, Jackie, to be my angel. As a center, don't cry, Jackie, you make me cry a lot. As a center, we have many services already accomplished. At the beginning, the center started helping most Brazilian population in Portuguese. But during the last years, we have witnessed the presence of the newcomers from the 5 continents. So we are thinking about to change our sign, say Centro, Comunitario, Scalabrini. We have to change because when we put a note, closed or fechado or cerrado, they cannot understand the sign. So we help people of the 5 continents that I told, but during 2017, our center is a small place, not a lot of staffs, but we serve close to 2,800 people. So immigrants in the community believe that our center and come with us because they feel safe and understood. Our staff are able to speak in 4 languages to help immigrants and their family. We can do in Spanish, Portuguese, English, and Italian. Our programs and services are mainly health insurance application, referral service to healthcare, process and help healthcare bills for emergency visitor, support migrants with care appointments and medical care procedure. We are a partnership of the Brazilian consulate, so every other week, the Brazilian consulate are in our center and our staff help to do everything that we need to do on the consulate there. Legal and immigration counselors, reference of victims of domestic violence and people living with HIV agency, we refer them and support the organization. We also refer people for detoxification treatment, like to Santa Elizabeth, to Elliott service. We also have a financial and economic aid and food charity contribution and donators to the low-income Immigrants. We also have an educational service, English as a second language, and Portuguese class for children. We have many challenges, but since difficulties appear every day, with the capabilities and resources, we never measure effort to assist and guide the human spiritual of the person of the immigrants. And our goal, our mission is to alleviate the daily suffering of migrants. We are concerned about the implication of the economic development on the city of Everett and surrounding areas, like I just mentioned, especially the opening of Wynn Boston Harvard Casino in this summer. We seriously believe that the development should include the minorities and not be a reason to exclusion or force displacement of migrants out of the community. Motor vehicles charging is changing this weekend, and it will be impact a lot our communities. We don't have answer yet, but we have to be prepared. The last reflection, our eyes saw, nossos olhos viram, immigrants well taking care of spirituality, but lost in search of help in a social area. Different faces. The face of the immigrants in the United States is different than the origin countries. Here, they are not hungry, but there are already traces of suffering, depression, loneliness, and adaptation process to the new society. There is a lot of studies on a subject of the migration, but there is a few people who have a courage to be at the base with minorities. Our ear have heard complaints of pain, fears of lack of documents, new language, work opportunities, and story of injustice. And our heart felt, nosso coração sentiu, to listen the discrimination expression about the immigrants and to understand how much we long to live the project of God that make us all brothers and sisters. Acting as a pastoral and social, we show our commitment to our migrant people. We need to be rooted in our Scalabrini identity and conviction to love the immigrants. We equally need to improve our skills, to update our information so that we may respond to the need of today's reality of migration. And concluding, our center pretends to be an oasis of reception and hospitality. The Scalabrini Center cannot solve all the problems of the immigrants, but is our main goal to guide that issues towards the right source of help through making a bridge between immigrants and institutions. And finally, our researches are often not enough to provide all the answers and satisfactory solutions to the wide range of needs presented by the immigrants, but every day we try to do our best.
Thank you very much, sister. Well, obrigado. Liliane.
My name is Liliane. I'm a director of the Brazil American Center in Framingham. The BRACE is a grassroots nonprofit organization founded in 2012 in the city of Framingham to tend to the needs of the Metro West area immigrants community. The focus of the organization is to provide assistance to the community by making information available. The majority of the people we see at Brace have moved to the United States from Brazil in search to the American dream. They are looking for a better quality of life for themselves and their families. Some bring their families with them, including their children. Others leaves their entire family behind and come by themselves. Most of them, whether alone or with their family, come without knowing anyone else in here, and depend on the work that we do to navigate this new stage of their lives. Many times, we assisted people who arrived in the US with the promise of obtaining work legally, with a large amount of debt, who don't know the culture or the English language. These people have no idea what to do or how to begin rebuilding their lives. A lot of times, they don't grasp the idea of how difficult will be to find work without legal immigration documents. They came to Brace for assistance on their native language and for the fact that most of our services are free of charge and available to them until 9 p.m. every night. Our main focus is to assisting in integrating this immigrant population into the mainstream American society. We inform and assist in several different situations, including enrollment to school and health insurance. We have a partnership with the Brazilian Consulate in Boston to allow individuals to request certain Brazilian documents through our organization. And with the network of Brazilian consulates in the US for assistance to find out information about people who are detained by the legal system, sudden deaths, expediting documentations for ill persons wishing to return home, communication with relatives, and any other assistance needed in these cases. According to another organization in Framingham called Downtown Framingham, Inc.'s 2017 annual report, they work with the business in Framingham. They said there are approximately 150 businesses currently operate in downtown Framingham, 10 of which were opened last year. 95% are owned and operated by immigrants. In that sense, at Brace, we are witnesses to the contributions of migrants to economic development in our community. We offer several services to the community that are meant to promote the adaptation and integration these people into the Metro West area and beyond. One of our largest concerns is the mental health of the immigration population. Currently, we are in the early stages of developing mental health programs for Spanish and Portuguese speakers. one of which involves a support group to treat depression, suicide prevention, and domestic violence, alongside the Metro West Health Foundation. Another group will be focused on trauma in partnership with Voices Against Violence. The third group will be focused on cancer patients and their families in the partnership with Facing Cancer Together. These programs will benefit people with limited English skills, allowing them to express their questions and concerns in their native language. We also offer Portuguese as a heritage language class for children born in the U.S. of Brazilian parents. We offer English as a second language and some programs, arts and sports programs. We provide citizenship classes for the people who are seeking to becoming American citizens. You will need to take the civics exams. During 2017, we impacted lives of more than 12,000 immigrants who embrace a space in which they can express themselves without discrimination. We are committed to change the lives of immigrants and their families positively. We do believe in their contributions to as a human being who become part of the social fabric and make America great. No Trump, please. Our centers are a great source of information, guidance, and recovery in all stages of the migratory process. Because of that, and because we have been immigrants ourselves, we understand their challenges, and we stand up to help, promote, and protect them.
Thank you very much, Liliane and Father Adriano.
Okay, my name is Father Adriano. I'm the director of Scalabrini Center Assistance and Cultural in Somerville that was born in October 2015. The Scalabrini Center in Somerville born as a part or as a branch of the service from Centro Comunitario in Everett as part of this need, and the idea was to extend that service to the community who lives in the surrounding area and Somerville and the neighborhood too. And this service was supported by our community, the Brazilian Catholic community in Somerville, placed in the St. Anthony Church. The idea was to welcome the new immigrants and live in hope and faith to serve people in need. The center was created to support the immigrant population in the area, and as I said, in our neighborhood or surrounding areas. As our mission, or part of our mission, is to welcome the immigrant and promote them, because we see that's not enough to welcome them if you do not promote the immigrant or integrate them in the community. Our idea is in the manner, or integral manner, leading them towards a social and cultural inclusion based in our values, Christians' values, because we are a Christian institution. The vision that moves us to be, or what moves us is to be a reference for the personalized welcome and care for migrants and their families in Somerville and surrounding areas. In order to welcome, protect, promote, and integrate the immigrants and hosting community, the center offers the following service and assistance. Health insurance applications will help people who comes to the center to fill out the forms and check if they have insurance or they are able to apply or not, or things like that, to refer them, for example, if they need to go to the hospital, they don't know how to go to the hospital. And our staff help them to see, to check which hospital, where they can go, and other things like that. As part two, our service is near or very new this year. We started a partnership with the Brazilian consulate to help people to get their paperwork, passports, other forms or authorizations from the consulate. They could come to our center. It's close to them in our community, and make for them easy, because as our consul Liliane told, some of them are afraid to drive in Boston, and in Somerville is a very familiar place for them. They know the church, they know where it is easy to park, is easy to get the bus, is easy to get the train, make their life a little bit more easier than go to another place, or because the schedule, sometimes they can go to the center to go to the consulate, because the time doesn't allow it, because they work until 5, 6, or 7. And the person in charge of the consulate goes there and serves them until 7, 8, or maybe 9 p.m. And that's kind of the service. Or another service is the counseling. Sometimes people come just to be found, or to find someone to hear them and talk to the other, say, I have this problem or another problem. And our staff and the secretary works at the center sometimes became the psychologist and the counseling, listen people who comes there. For example, sometimes in the year, once in a year, we promote a fair, a health fair or service or interinstitutional fair that we call the partners or the institutions in our area to come and to join with us and offer their service. And one day in our hall, put together, and people come and they see what they need or what they are looking for, and they have this service in one day. All services are together in the same place. Besides that, we have English class as a second language, as we have our staff are here helping as a volunteer in this seminar. Because we believe learn English for our community is important to give to them the access to the service in the city in other part that they need. If they speak English, they become independent for some things, or many things that we can see. Otherwise, we offer in this package Portuguese for our children, because we see how important is our children learn the father's and the mother language to communicate inside of the house. And besides that, is an advantage if you learn, besides English, you learn a second language as your native language, Portuguese, Spanish, or other language you want. Gives you a power, gives you advantage besides this. We have a lot of testimonies from people who were assisted from our center. Sometimes, for nothing, appears someone and say, "Oh, thank you, Sister Elisete, thank you, Gilseia, thank you, Diane, for your help, because you helped me to get my insurance, to help me to access and get my new passport, or to talk with the teacher of my children in the school." Sometimes happen some things very funny, Gilseia works in the front table in the center, and people, when they have problems with the insurance, they came with letters from the health department or Connecticut, Mass Health. And sometimes happened something funny. One day happened, these people come to the center and said, you read letters here, but when we say that in Portuguese, we read, você lê cartas, means something different, something funny. And now you say, I learned, she said, okay, we take your letters, we could explain to you what is written in the letter. Because someone, they can't understand English very well, and they need some help, some assistance to get the right understanding of what is written in the letter. And that's one of the funny things happen sometimes. But maybe you are sitting here and you are thinking, oh, but what makes immigrants come to the Scalabrini Center and feel at home? Why those people come to the center? First of all, people come to our center because we provide a safe environment to them. And they feel comfortable, they feel welcomed, they feel not judged. And that kind of feeling make them, or gives to them confidence, Other thing is, our staff is composed basically for volunteers who speak different languages as Portuguese, Spanish, and English. Many of our volunteers, they received in the past some service from the center, and they come back to the center to serve as a volunteer because they recognize how important was the center in their life, and they wanted to retribute or make the same to other people who are or were in the same situation that they were in the past. And they feel grateful to helping others with the same that they receive it, because they understand how it's to be lack or doesn't have some understanding or some services. The other thing is our work schedule is different because we understand people work hard here. And they need to work to provide their bread for their family. And we work from Monday to Thursday, from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. That make easy to people come to the center, have their assistance that they need. Besides, and we work Saturday also from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. besides that schedule. Just to have some numbers, last year, 2017, we assisted and we served more than 13,000 people pass in our center, received any service. Many of them are from Latin America. When we say Latin America, Brazilians and Hispanics, but the majority are Brazilians, okay? And others, 5% from the different countries, Europe or other place in Asia or other country. We see how positive our center has impacted the lives of our immigrants. For example, there's people who study English in the courses in the church as a second language. Sometimes we heard some people say, oh, okay, that's because I learned a little bit more or improved more my English. I could get a better job that I had before. Or I could go to the hospital without need someone translating to me or other service. As part of this process to integrate people, the immigrants, we see how important it is to maintain their identity and their culture. And we created in our church, for example, some programs like arts, music, and other kind of these to promote and to keep the culture, remind that we are Brazilians and we have in our blood this culture, and we have to be attentive to that. Another positive point, we are in Somerville. Somerville is a sanctuary city. And in the political level, we have a very good support from our mayor, Joseph Curtaton. I remember the first time I went to the city hall, I saw in the Somerville High School a sign on the frontage of the Somerville High School that says, or said, was written that time. Sanctuary City, one Somerville. The diversity is our strength. The diversity is our strength. That kind of sign make people feel safe, and they evaluate how the city cares about them. And just to conclude, I remember our founder, John Baptist Scalabrini. He said, "For the migrant, the fatherland is the country that provides bread." That's what we see in Somerville. The Scalabrini Center is witnesses of the contribution that the immigrants generate to the local economy through their enthusiasm, efforts, creativity, and entrepreneurship. Business, they generate jobs. In Somerville, just walk in some squares, how many businesses you could see run by migrants, immigrants? Saloons, barber shops, small markets, construction companies, service companies, a lot of different kind of business. We have some people here who run some business and has this spirit. Another important thing that we see is the immigrant contribute to the local economy, contribute to the culture and the local community. We are moved by this spirit as a Christian, and that we believe, and for us is very clear. If the immigrant is not our brother, we cannot call God as our Father. If you do not see the immigrant as our brother, we cannot profess and believe, saying we are Catholic or another denominance. First of all, we have to see the immigrant as our brother. To finish, after I would like to invite you to share with you a promotional video made by us that we're going to tell you a little bit more about what we told you in this conference.
The mission of the Scalabrini Centers for Migration in Boston is to promote the integration and adaptation of immigrant communities into American society while maintaining their dignity, values, and cultural identity. By working in the community with people in need and with local and national partners from civil society, we strive to empower and create a better way of life for migrants and their families in Boston and the surrounding communities. Strong ethical and moral principles guide our work.
Io sono il padre Scaravelli, parroco della parrocchia Sant'Arsizio in Framingham e presidente del Brazilian American Center. Nosotros en el BRACE, como todos los centros scalabrinianos de Everett y de Somerville, atendemos a los inmigrantes sin distinción de raza, de color, de procedencia de país, de religión, de género, y lo hacemos con mucho cariño, con mucha compasión. Y nuestros horarios son muy flexibles, van hasta las 10 de la noche. Y para nosotros es importante este trabajo porque valorizamos el aporte de los inmigrantes que hacen a nuestras ciudades con su trabajo, con su energía, con su juventud. Ellos aportan con sus costumbres, inclusive su música, su fe, su manera de expresar su fe, su religión. Es una contribución para nuestras ciudades y por ello los atendemos y nuestro trabajo es para dar las bienvenidas, promoverlos e integrarlos dentro de la sociedad que lo acoge com muito carinho este grande país que acoge a los imigrantes.
Eu sou a irmã Elisete Terezinha Signor, diretora do Centro Comunitário Scalabrini de Everett. Qual é a nossa missão aqui no centro? A nossa missão é acolher, ajudar, servir, aconselhar, a comunidade brasileira e latino-americana em todas as suas necessidades, não individuais, mas a família, em todas as suas necessidades humanas, sociais, assim como somos uma comunidade aberta à diversidade, assim também é o nosso Centro Comunitário Scalabrini. Queremos e pretendemos ser um oásis de acolhida e hospitalidade para avaliar, amenizar o sofrimento dos migrantes nesse processo de adaptação e integração.
My name is Father Adriano. I'm the administrator of the Scalabrini Assistance and Cultural Center in Somerville. Our mission is to welcome and promote immigrant people in their totality, leading them towards a social cultural inclusion based on Christian values.
The Scalabrini Centers for Migration in Boston encompass 3 community centers located in Everett, Framingham, and Somerville. Over the years, the centers have made a significant difference in the immigrant community by offering legal and immigration assistance, counselor services, health insurance applications, referral services for mental health and addiction, as well as counseling and psychosocial support. The centers are important community resources that supply information about employment, housing, and educational services. They provide English as second language classes, citizenship classes, assistance with the naturalization process, and arts and sports programs for both children and adults. The centers aim to offer aid and charitable contributions to low-income migrant families as well. These activities help to promote the social advancement and healthy development of the migrant population.
O ano passado, em 2017, a gente atendeu mais de 10 mil pessoas, né, durante o ano todo, e acredito que as pessoas vêm porque eles acreditam no nosso trabalho, eles se sentem confortáveis. Além dos cursos que a gente promove, a gente tem uma parceria com o Consulado Brasileiro para providenciar a documentação brasileira. Não existe distinção, a gente recebe todo tipo de imigrante aqui, todas as pessoas, de todas as raças, né, de todos os países. E as pessoas se sentem confortáveis com o nosso trabalho. Além disso, a gente faz um trabalho de informação. Então, o imigrante chega, tudo que ele precisa, se a gente não tem a informação, a gente tem como conseguir a informação para eles.
We teachers are very, very lucky to be working with this wonderful population of people full of life and love and desire to be integrated as well as possible and as positively as possible into the American society. And we hope to do as much as possible to make that happen in the short amount of time that we have available to them as teachers. I hope the work continues and that we grow and continue to integrate as many people as possible into the American society. For without them, we are poor and we have very little to give if we don't sponsor and help and support immigrants into our country.
Migrants contribute in several different ways. They diversify our culture. They contribute financially to our economy, right? They move our economy because not only by buying goods, but also by opening business. We know that through research, that migrants, they open businesses at a rate higher than native-born Americans. They work hard, they come here, they have a dream, they want to win, they're winners. They didn't come here because, they want just a space where they can sit and rest. They came here to work and to make themselves better, and by consequence, they end up making our country better. So I really think that the migrant experience is the American experience. This is what makes us great as Americans and great as a country.
Eu acredito que o Centro Scalabrini em si, ele oferece não só a possibilidade de você, como diz, de contribuição de ajuda, você se ajudar, mas também de ajudar. Essa vida em comum que o Centro Scalabrini dá pra gente. Porque uma vez que você abre portas para que a pessoa sirva do talento que Deus te deu, converte de bênção, não só para a gente, mas para a comunidade. Então é muito bom, definitivamente é um centro que ajuda muito, muito, muito a gente.
I came here with a dream to learn English, a dream to work, I dream to be able one day to buy a little house in Brazil. And also a dream to support my family back home. I came here with my husband, and here, in this land where we conquer our dreams, I had my son who is 26, and he joined the Navy 5.5 years ago. I'm very proud of him. In this community, which is part of my life, the Catholic community, here I learned that alone we cannot survive. In this community, I put my roots. Here I have all my friends, which I call family. It's hard to leave our land, leave all the ones that we love behind. So in each individual from my community, I try to put my mother and all my 11 brothers that I left at home.
Doesn't matter what part in Scalabrini Center you go, they have an answer for you. Even when you ask for food, you don't have food, and they try to help you. Everybody is important for us.
Sí, aquí las clases de inglés para mí han sido muy importantes porque he estado aprendiendo. Ya, por supuesto, en la calle ya me puedo defender un poco. Si uno sabe el idioma inglés, puede tener mejores trabajos, puede relacionarse mejor con las personas, ir a una oficina a hablar que uno necesita, a veces cuestión de papeles y todo eso, y no sabe inglés, entonces no lo atienden de la misma forma. Y de todas maneras, el español es la segunda lengua de este país, pero la mayoría habla es inglés. Entonces tenemos que adaptarnos a aprender inglés.
But before we move into the final stage, and I'm going to give the word to Sharon, I just want to highlight a couple of things. One, this entire event, as you have noticed, was put together by immigrants. 80 to 90% of the people who've spoken today are immigrants. And I think that that's the gift that we're bringing to the city of Boston. That's the gift that we're bringing to the church. You know, I myself was born in South America as well. And that's how we are transforming this society, in engaging in these conversations, transforming the church by bringing those gifts, by those beautiful experiences. So I think that I want to thank everyone for this opportunity of allowing the immigrant community to share these particular gifts. Also, I know that things are going to move quickly. I want to give thanks in a special way on behalf of Boston College to both the Scalabrini centers, that help us and that partnered with us in putting this together. Sharon has been an amazing leader putting this together. Sharon, thank you. And I also want to express my gratitude to Melinda Donovan and Danielle and Vanessa and Professor Felix Palazzi, who worked with me here at Boston College and putting this work together. They did all the work, and I take the credit. So that's what always happens. But I'm so grateful to the work they have done. And Sharon, the floor is yours.
Well, regrettably, we are coming to an end, but I want to say thank you for everything. But before that, I would like to invite here our dear Father Leonid Chiarello to share with us some final words and closing remarks. So, Father Leonid, thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. When we met last year in my office in New York to plan this seminar with Father Volmar, Father Adriano, Sharon, and Father Carlos. We defined as the main purpose of the seminar to strengthen our institutional collaboration, to welcome, to protect, to promote, and to integrate migrants in the community in Boston. And these four verbs, to welcome, to protect, to promote, and to integrate, was presented by Pope Francis in a similar seminar that we organized last year in Rome on February 2021. We are organizing similar seminars like this at local level, national level, and international level. Every year we are organizing the International Forum on Migration and Peace, putting together decision makers and opinion makers around the world. And we are inviting head of states and policymakers and mayors, governors, senators, civil society organizations. And in the last edition, as I mentioned, we organized with Pope Francis in Rome. And concluding his remarks, in addition to say that these four pillars of migration policies, to welcome, protect, promote, and integrate people, he said, I invite you to conjugate these verbs in the first person singular. What can I do to welcome, to protect, to promote, and to integrate migrants? And second, how can we conjugate these verbs in the first person plural? What can we do to welcome, to protect, to promote, and to integrate? So this is the main goal of this seminar. How can we do to conjugate these verbs? And I think in our discussions, there are 6 main strategies that was presented and stressed by the speakers. These strategies of collaboration between local governments, the consulates, civil society organizations, including faith-based organizations, especially the Catholic Church. First of all, the first area of collaboration is to change the distorted perception of migrants and refugees. Cardinal O'Malley, in the opening remarks, he stated, we are a church of immigrants. We are a country of immigrants. We are a country built by immigrants, he said. So it's important to come together, he said, to reflect on the contribution of immigrants in building this country. And the best way to respect our identity, he said, is to be a welcoming church and a welcoming country. If we want to make America great again, we need to be a welcoming country. I think this is the invitation of Cardinal O'Malley is a key for our commitment. If we don't change the distorted perception of migrants, we cannot build a country, a great country. Second, the crucial issue of integration raised by Kevin, especially in the second panel, and then stressed in all the panels. The crucial topic of integration of migrants and refugees. Don Caring, for example, presented the Catholic Integration Initiative promoted by Center for Migration Studies, and then the other panelists, they stressed the importance of integrate migrants into the local society. Third area of collaboration is the recognition and facilitation of, to recognize and to facilitate the contribution of migrants to economic and social development. through job creation, entrepreneurship, and other initiatives, allowing migrants to contribute for social and economic development. The fourth area of collaboration is the solidarity of countries of origin to protect and promote the dignity of their citizens. This topic was raised by the panel of the consulates, the general consuls of Brazil, Mexico, and Guatemala and Salvador. They stressed the importance of protecting their citizens and promote their dignity here in the United States. The fifth area is we migrants. Professor Ospino said 90% of the speakers, including myself, we migrants are bringing, he said, we are bringing new life to the society, to the church, to the culture, the economy, the demography, and other areas of this country and around the world. In the panel, the last panel, the migrants directors of the centers, they stressed the importance that as migrants we are actors of change, not only spectators. Migrants are receiving our support, but migrants are building new businesses, promoting the economy, promoting the culture of the local community. And finally, the sixth, and I think very important area, all of the 5 areas are important, but this is a common ground of all the 5 prior areas. The sixth area is the common ground of our collaboration is our humanity and our faith. We are all human beings, members of a human family. From our Christian perspective, we know and we believe, we know that God shared our experience as migrant. In Jesus, God put his tent among us. He was a refugee in Egypt, and with his death and resurrection, he revealed to us that all of us are migrants in this world. And our final destination is not in this world, is in an eternal world, eternal life. And from this perspective, when we are defining ourselves as migrants, we are defining ourselves as brothers in Christ, but we are adding an adjective to us. Our common ground is our humanity. As we add to ourselves, in the past, all of us, we were children. Now we are adults. In the future, we will be old people. Sometimes we are sick. Children, adults, elderly people, sick people, all adjectives. Migrants is an adjective, not a substantive, is an adjective. All of us are human beings. So the consequence, public policies need to be focused, should be focused on humanity, not in categories, in adjectives. Policies, public policy for children, women, sick, elderly people, migrants, should be focused not in national interests and personal interests, political interests, but in our common ground, the human beings that should be protected, promoted, integrated, and welcome, as Pope Francis invited us. Thank you for the organizers of this seminar. I think that we have these five areas that we can strengthen our collaboration, and by promoting together our human identity and our human dignity, we can share together the challenges and the benefits of the human family. Thank you very much for the organizers and for the invitation of this seminar. Thank you.